Thank you very much.
No problem. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we are recording and I am the host. And this is the League of Women Voters of Colorado's Task Force on Gun Violence Prevention. I have a very short agenda this evening, and we are a very small crowd, so we should be taking care of this in record time. Let me put my agenda up so I don't forget what we're doing. See, there you are.
And Amanda, do you want to say something about why I'm here?
Hold on just a moment, just because my technology's out of control.
Okay.
Okay. Well, now I'll wait. Okay, Tony, why don't you please tell us why you're here? Tony is a new addition to our group, and she has words to tell us, please.
The state board has decided that with 8 or 9 task forces, that things were getting, I shouldn't say out of hand, but they were a little fragmented and different things were going on in different places, and there wasn't a coordination. So I am to go to all the task forces and to make sure or to see what they're doing, making sure no overlap, or that, again, we could do collaborations among the task forces. It's just it's kind of to streamline it and to make sure everybody knows what page we're on.
Okay.
But that's a big job, Tony.
Yes, a big job. All right. Well, let me share my screen and we'll get on with what we're doing. Yeah, there we are. And everyone can see that?
Yes.
Okay, that is. I'm going to remind everybody many times between now and December the 13th that Dr. Emmy Betts is coming to speak to us by Zoom on Wednesday, the 13th of December. And everyone should register for that. Since it's just the 3 of us, we will be able to take care of that. The first topic I wanted to have to discuss has to do with these speakers. You may remember, Mary, that last spring we were looking for ways that the League could contribute to the community of our partners who are working to prevent gun violence.
Right.
And we were looking for ways, they can do many things that we traditionally don't or can't. And we can do some things that, better than other things. So we decided that in our mission of education, what we could do is invite speakers to speak to not just us, but to those in the community as well. And this is sort of a proof of concept this fall. And we've had 2 speakers so far. And that, as far as I'm concerned, that's gone well. I'd like to hear what other people think as well. I'm not sure. We have 3 this fall, which is a good number. I was surprised how easy it was to find these people. We'll hope that continues if we decide to continue this. So, Mary, have you had a chance to sit in on any of those or discuss them?
I think I have.
Okay.
I heard the one on how do you call it? ERPO.
That was Rachel Dane from Bridge to Justice. Yes.
And it was very good, I thought. Although it talked about what they're doing which was very informative. Who was the previous one? I'm sorry.
That was Beverly Kingston from the University of Colorado, the behavioral Behavioral Science
You know,
Institute.
I may have had a conflict that night. I'm sorry. And I'm
Okay.
sorry to tell you, I'm going to have a conflict on the 13th. I won't be able to listen to Dr. Betts.
Okay. Well, as we said, we hope that they will come and talk to us so we can educate ourselves, of course. But this is also a way to share with the communities. So we've actually had quite a few, there haven't been vast crowds, but there've been a good number of non-league members who have attended these.
Right, you're right.
So, and I have heard back, from 2 or 3 people that they appreciate, the effort. So, it seems to me that it's going well. I don't know how everyone else feels, but you and I seem to think it's okay.
Yeah, right.
So we had asked for some ideas, and we have a list here from, for the future. Gun storage is a big topic because it's something that a lot of our partners do. They have gun lock giveaways. They give away gun boxes. We have some people who are interested in the schools, and they want to. One of the ideas came up that school principals should be directed to pass out storage information. Now, this came from the Colorado Youth Advisory Council exercise this fall, COYAC. And that was one of their proposals that they were going to take forward, but then they develop 5 and they take 3 forward. And this one did not pass muster. Okay. But we may be able to find some other people who are working on school issues and see if they wouldn't like to include that as part of that. So gun storage and locks are very important, and I will talk more about that when we get down to the partner reports. Let's see. So I remember Beth DeHaven said that we should get a big name, and she suggested Shannon Watts, which is the founder of Everytown. I have not gone off in pursuit of that person, but let's leave it on the list because we may be able to fit them in somehow. Of course, we can get speakers from Giffords or Brady, and someone suggested a young person who is an eloquent survivor from East High. And if you remember at that time, the time that this suggestion was made, the East High kids were at the legislature advocating very hard for gun regulation. So yes. That's, and I'm sure that they are still around and are probably still motivated, but we can think about that one. I contacted Karen Sheik, and she is canvassing the local leagues, not only to encourage them to attend these Zooms, but also to suggest topics and people. If you look at the people that I found, they're in Boulder County, and this is not a Boulder County issue, so I would like to spread it out over the state. And so Karen agreed that would be a good idea, and so she's checking that out.
I'm sorry, I don't even know who Karen Sheik is. So
she is now the local league liaison for the board.
Okay.
She's down in Cortez, and she keeps track of the local leagues. Is that right, Tony?
I was muted. Yes, that's right. And she was the past president of the state league.
Okay. And that's different than what you're doing, Tony.
Yes, much.
Okay. And Ruth Nuremberg?
Ruth Nuremberg is a past president of the Pueblo League that I had interaction with before. Ruth has since left the state,
Oh,
but I've been in touch with her. One reason is that she was very much involved with the mental health community in Pueblo. She has family members who are doctors and emergency room people. And as it turns out, Pueblo is very up on the curve on mental health, since one of the largest mental health hospitals in Colorado is there.
right.
So I had reached out to her. She's since moved to Kansas, but the two of them together, the first thing that both of them thought of was that they would like to have someone speak to the physical impact of gun violence. Now, I don't know how we could address that without getting absolutely gory. Anyway, it was a topic that came up. Both of them spoke about it independently, so I didn't want to leave it off the list. And as a corollary to that, I think that it might be interesting to have someone address the economic consequences.
Right.
Because being shot costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're talking about individual economic consequences, not society.
Yeah.
Economic.
Whoever pays, money does show up. And
Yeah.
then that's information that we can use to talk about, how this plague is, affecting our society. And it would be interesting to me, at least. So those are some of the ideas we have. Mary, have I left anything off the list?
Not that I know of. So yeah. Can you hear me? I keep getting this little message that my voice quality is poor. Can you hear me?
Yes. You once in a while you blip out, but
oh really? Oh,
it's just a blip.
Why? I got a new computer and new techniques and whatnot here, so I'm just learning them. But
okay, well, I think we're doing good. So then let's see. Let's take a look at our partners. Have you been out with the partners, Mary?
Not recently. I was on the board of Colorado Ceasefire
Yes.
for a number of years, but I'm no longer on that board. And I've been dealing with some issues. I live in a senior retirement community. And we had a gun. Well, we haven't had any incidents here, but after the incident at the assisted living place in Lafayette, do you remember that a couple of years ago? One of the residents' families had brought a resident a gun and he ended up shooting a staff member. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so we visited our policy here. And so I've been very involved in that, which is not an outside partner at all. But another issue here is guns and the elderly. That's a problem. We have people. I tried to get a policy engaged here where people had to report to the executive director whether they had guns in their unit, which includes apartments and, like, I have a duplex garden home. It didn't go over. There were a number of people who fought that, and it did not go over. But in a community like this, they do monitor us for whether we're developing cognitive problems. And when cognitive problems develop, if an elderly person has a gun in their unit, that's a danger. That's a risk if their cognitive faculties are going downhill. And some of the elderly senior living communities don't allow guns at all, which I think is the way to go. But in mine, they do. And they refused to report that they had them in their unit. So some people refused, and so they didn't institute the policy. But at any rate, that's an issue. We worry about it with young people, and we should. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but it's also particular problems with older people who are experiencing cognitive decline.
Okay.
Which we all will eventually.
Yes, it will come to us.
Yes, it will.
Okay. Well, let's let's see. When last we spoke, I think I have been to a ceasefire meeting and a legislative roundup with various community speakers talking about what the laws are now. This was in Longmont. Talking about what the laws are now and how to get, community activists involved in this issue. It was interesting. Last night, I was off to Mother's Demand Action Group, and Michael Daughtry, our district attorney, Judy Amabile, our representative, and Sonia Jacques Lewis were there, giving us a preview of things that they're going to be doing at the legislature. The two legislators did. Some of the things that they talked about is they will not be bringing back the assault rifle ban.
They won't. That's a disappointment.
Not this year. Well,
yeah.
And as they explained it, this is an election year, and the governor still isn't truly on board. Right. And as an issue during an election year, it stirs up lots of controversy.
That's true. Yes.
So, yeah, they didn't do very well last time, and they can't see a better forecast for it this time. So they're not going to bring it up this year. The RDA was hoping, and perhaps it will happen, that they will work some more on the storage law to extend it to cars. His point, which was, I hadn't thought of it, was that this is where a lot of stolen guns come from.
Right.
That people steal them from cars. Right now in Boulder County, he said that they're very worried in Longmont, Greeley, up in there, about gang activity.
Wow.
And that lots of this activity has to do with stolen guns and illegal guns. He also sort of put it into perspective because the police chief of Longmont had gone to a conference and complained that he had had 5 incidences of gang violence in the last year. And he was really concerned about the uptick. And the person he was talking to, he said he had had 95. Wow. So we are not, in a terrible shape, but it is something that our people are worried about. And one of the ways into this is stolen guns. So, I should be writing this down because I'll mess it up.
So a lot of times they talk about guns in homes needing to be stored again because of theft. So what are the numbers of guns stolen from inside a house compared to from inside a car? Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh.
But there are, let's see. I don't know that he gave us any numbers on that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to go searching. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he didn't particularly, especially in cars. They want to extend the because right now it seems that our regulations don't cover cars. If you have a gun, you can leave it loose in your glove compartment and it's not an issue. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you get mad at somebody, you got to have it right there, right?
Well, yes. Seems like that's the way it works. Let's see. So he was hoping that they would work on the storage requirements. I have notes. I should use them, shouldn't I? Judy Amabile reported that one of the bills she carried last time was a 3-day waiting period, and that is being challenged in court.
But they didn't put a restriction on it yet, so that's great.
That's right. They did not. She also sponsored the bill to raise the age limit to purchase one. That
Right.
too is being challenged, and they did have an injunction on that one.
Right.
So, that, it's grinding on. Both she and Michael Daughtry were pretty optimistic about, eventually those two bills should be able to pass muster. Let's see. One of the big issues that they hope to tackle is to license to sell. Right now we have federally licensed gun dealers.
Right.
And if we had state licensed gun dealers, when they didn't follow the law, then we could, it would be our local law enforcement who should be taking care of that issue. Because right now there are a lot of dealers who sell high capacity magazines and, do various other things that they're not supposed to do, but the state can't shut them down until the feds act. So if they are state licensed as well as federally licensed, that gives the state a handle on enforcement there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
Yeah. They also said that they would like to see Colorado support the Firearm Merchants Category Code. And what that is when you buy something with a credit card, there are sets of codes that automatically sort, your purchase into these categories, and they would like to have a category for gun purchases. And of course, this is met with a lot of resistance on the federal level.
Sure.
But our guys would like to see a way to support that.
Who controls those category codes now? Do the credit card companies, or who does it?
Well, the federal, it wouldn't be them. The feds have to have something in it because the credit card companies aren't allowed to. Whoever, regulates them would be the person, would be the people to do that.
Yeah, right.
And again, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out this spring. And let's see, the other thing they'd like to do is that part of the effort to do research about guns, as you know, is very fraught. We almost can't do it. Some of the things they'd like to do is to start investigating the denials, so that when someone applies and they are denied, they like to know how often that happens and what happens after that, and is it working? And if you reapply, how many times does that happen? There are lots of questions to be raised there, and they would like to start a pilot program to investigate that.
Yeah, it's a good idea too.
Yeah.
Would some of the, like this one in particular, be appropriate for that new state office on guns?
They should certainly be participating in it somehow, I would think.
Yeah. That's one thing, I know it's there, but you don't hear very much about what it does or what the people there do, put it that way.
Well, they had a rocky start. And there is, there is and always will be sort of a tension between, the community that it serves, who frankly has its hair on fire, and the governmental unit that governs them, the Department of Public Health and Environment. They, they are a government organization. They have rules and ways of acting, and encountering people who have their hair on fire is not part of their schema. So, there will always be that sort of a tension there. But what they're doing now, and they're finally figured out how to work with each other to get this done. They've been issuing grants. They have been working with some sort of publicity agent to publicize ERPO. And that is, I mean, they've said for 2 years that this is their goal. And I think that they have finally, here comes June, that they have finally figured out how to do that. So they are going all over the state talking about ERPO. They have some literature developed for that. And that is their point of view right now. One of their functions will be to be what I think of as a clearinghouse for data and research information. And the woman who's coming next month is the person who's designing their research database at a high level. So so they are working, they're working hard. It's just that, they're not as visible as all of us think they should be, but they are doing things. Let's see. As I said, I took notes, so I should use them. Okay. So that's what the moms were doing last night. Yeah, here we go. Oh, yes, Giffords is going to promote a sensitive places bill, which they're going to use Louisville as a model of that. You are not allowed to take your gun to school, probably to government offices. There may be other places as well that will be defined, but that will be one that they will be, that Giffords is going to support and help carry.
So that would supersede the entity, the city, or the whatever from their own laws then, if that goes into effect?
If it were a state law, yes. That would mean that, you couldn't carry a gun into any school.
Yeah. Well, you can't now, actually.
Well, or whatever else these places are.
Right.
One of the places that they mentioned was parks, which I think would be a really good idea, and probably have a lot of opposition as well. So yeah. So those are things that that's about all I know from our meetings there. June, yes, you've come in late. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Just barely. You're very, very quiet.
I've been having trouble with my speaker for some reason. I'm not sure why. But anyway, yes, I did. I totally forgot and I suddenly remembered. So did I miss anything urgent?
Well, as you can see, we're a very small group. Yes. Tony is here, and she will be keeping an eye out on us and being our liaison to the board and the Legislative Action Committee, and sorting out opportunities to cooperate amongst the task forces. And anything else, Tony, that I should mention?
I think that's a nice roundup, yes.
Okay, very good. So let's see, other things that we've done. We were talking about this ongoing speakers series that we've begun. We've had 3, as you know. They're sort of scattershot as far as topics go right now. I think that we were all waiting to see if it was possible to get someone to come talk to us. It was possible to have people come and listen to them. And if that all worked, then we might start thinking about channeling our interests a little more. You know, maybe someday we would have a panel discussion on, you know, a variety, a topic, as opposed to, you know, 3 or 4 months of things. But and our next one is going to be Dr. Emmy Betts, June, Wednesday, the 13th of December. So please register for that. I sort of expect our partners to be excited about that one, because she is a star in the field there.
Good. That sounds good.
And we talked about some topic ideas. So if you have any of those to add, please do. Let me know of, you know, if you know someone that would be a really good speaker, or if there's a topic that we'd like to hear from, that'd be good. I found I've attended a couple of Moms Demand Action meetings now and Colorado Ceasefire, and I found that they, of course, are fired up about electing the right people.
Yeah.
You know, supporting candidates, supporting parties, all those things that we do not do. And so I think that by providing speakers on these almost background topics is probably a good idea, just because people do need to be educated about what they're talking about. We need to be educated about what we're talking about. And these are very general topics. These are not as pointed as something you would hear at Giffords or Brady, and I think that's a good thing. So
do we know what laws might be introduced this year, or
do you want to repeat that, please?
What laws might be introduced this year? Do we have any information on that?
Yeah, let's go up here. All right, so I was at a meeting last night with Sonia Jacques Lewis and Judy Amabile.
Oh, okay.
And so they said that, first of all, there will not be an assault weapons ban this year for various reasons. That Giffords is ready to support a bill called the Sensitive Places Bill.
Oh, that's good. Yes, I heard.
Yeah,
that.
and they're going to use Louisville as a model. So we'll all have to check out what Louisville has done. The DA who was there, Michael Daughtry, is hoping that there'll be some refinements to the safe storage legislation. He wants to extend that to cars.
Oh, good idea.
Especially because of stolen guns, which we do. They are hoping to follow up on a state license to sell, so that gun dealers would be regulated by state law and not just federal law, and we could hold them accountable to our state laws. They would like to see support for the firearm merchants category code for credit card purchases. And they like to see a pilot program to investigate denials, so that they can figure out, you know, how often this is happening and why, and are we missing any, things like that. So those are the sorts of things. This will be available on the blog if you go there.
Okay.
So, well, since there are so few of us, have we covered all of our bases?
I don't have anything to add. So.
Okay. Well, I think I've hit on everything that I know, so I'm going to stop sharing. And there we go. And I think that we could probably call this an evening. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we've got the
Okay,
basic
very good.
information here, so.
All right. Please remember to register for December 13th.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be a barn burner.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
Good-
Rihanna.
Good night.
Good night, thanks.